welcome back to Viper Falls, a week in the life. This week, we are going to focus on Denver and his life. Now, Denver is actually one of my least favorite Sims in the generation. I have just decided he is kind of a whiny guy who's like, why don't girls like me? But he doesn't really do anything to warrant their liking, you know?
Muto.
But here he is with his longtime girlfriend, Sophie Miguel. He finally got Sophie to move in with him after several attempts. Sophie was also his first kiss, but not for lack of trying. Denver, it's like if Don Lothario wasn't good at getting girls. Denver's very woman-focused, and he just kind of keeps failing upwards. He somehow managed to convince Sophie to be his girlfriend and to move in with him. He keeps getting promotions in the business career, so he's making decent money now. And he's not, like, unattractive. He just kind of is annoying, in my opinion. But I guess we'll see as we unpack more about him. So like I said, Sophie has just moved in. Denver actually moved out of his parents' house for a little bit when he became an adult. But he recently moved back in after all his other siblings moved out because he was like, okay, someone needs to stay home and take care of mom and dad. His parents are getting pretty old and up there. I believe his dad, Cullen, is in permaplat, while his mom, Nicole, has kind of struggled with depression her whole life. She's always teetering in the lower red aspiration. She's a family sim. She had 4 kids, but she just wasn't a really good mom. And Cullen also was not a very good dad, despite being a family sim. I think the two definitely bit off more than they could chew. I was like, why are the cats crying? They're being fed. I think it's so funny how the cats come and like eat as soon as you put the food in. I've noticed the dogs don't do that, but the cats always come as soon as you put the food down, which I think is so funny and true to life. But anyway, so Cullen and Nicole are both family sims, but ironically enough, neither were very good at being parents. They had Denver as their firstborn, and then they had Dallas, and then they had the twins, Dublin and Dayton. And I think the twins just put the house in pure chaos. You'll see there's always dirty dishes around, the pets always need to be fed, the cats are always fighting, they always had a lot of pets too. I think if they had just had 2 kids, they would have been fine, or even 3, but having the twins on top of all the other children, all the kids are really close in age. I think Denver is only like 2 years older than Dallas, and Dallas is only like a year older than the twins, so they're all really close in age. And Dallas, his younger sister, who is one of my favorite Sims in this generation. We're going to unpack her story last. But yeah, she's one of my favorites. She moved out shortly after she turned 18 because she always just felt kind of overlooked in the house. Denver was the firstborn. The parents kind of doted on him. And then Dallas kind of got pushed to the side once the twins were born. She always just felt very caught in the middle, very isolated and alone. And Denver, of course, is like, what are you talking about? Mom and Dad gave us great childhoods. The twins can kind of see more of Dallas's side than Denver can. The twins are like, no, like Mom and Dad completely just gave up on raising us once Denver moved out. But because Denver was the firstborn, he got to experience all the perks of that. And he just can't really see things from other points of view. That's Denver's story. He's very one-track minded. And poor Sophie really needs to go to bed, but I'm glad we had her eat a little bit first. But anyway, Denver's been very one-track minded, so when he moved out to get his apartment, it wasn't because he couldn't stand living there like his siblings, but because he was like, I'm gonna make a bachelor pad. Unfortunately, no woman ever really came to the pad. He met Sophie at a bowling alley, and it took a lot of convincing to get her to even go on a date with him, and then to even move in, he had to ask her like 3 or 4 times. She's really like, I don't know, but the dating scene so bad and rough. Sophie was kind of like, whatever. Denver wore her down. She's like, I guess he's not that bad. He has a decent job. He's nice. He can just be kind of annoying at times. But even though I find Denver kind of annoying, he's also like really fun to play because I can play him from that angle that he's just very annoying and can't really see outside of himself. I have no idea how Cullen ended up in Permaplatinum and Nicole didn't. When they have the same aspiration, you would think they're getting the same things fulfilled. But I guess not. I think Denver gets his one-track mindedness from his father, because his dad's also very much like, what do you mean you're depressed? Like, to his kids and stuff, when they're like, you're not meeting our basic needs. I would argue that Cullen and Nicole were on the verge of neglecting their children. They got kind of close at times. I was afraid that social services would come and take their children away. But somehow all the kids made it to adulthood. I think their cats got taken away like once or twice. I don't know. Cullen has a lot of drama. So we're just gonna go ahead and have Cullen head to bed. He is a family sim through and through. He also wants Powell to be resurrected. I guess he and Powell were friends. I didn't realize that. Okay, so everybody wants Powell back. I definitely think we're gonna have to bring Powell back, is what the fans want. The fans, of course, being the residents of Viper Falls. And Cullen said, okay, Apple? I know I named the cats Apple and Banana. I'm so sorry, y'all. I am absolutely terrible at trying to keep all these pets straight. I think that was Apple. I think Banana is the big one, the mean one. And then Cullen and Nicole are just sound asleep. They've been married for 50 years. Again, I think they're the most neglectful, harmful parents in Viper Falls, but like everyone else, I think there's nuance to them. I don't think they did anything intentionally. I think they just bit off way more than they could chew, trying to raise 4 kids and 2 cats, and the house was just constantly chaotic. Like I mentioned, I think their cats were taken away by animal control multiple times because they just kept forgetting to feed them. They have a decent amount of money, but they don't really know how to utilize it. They didn't have the money for Dallas or Denver to go to college, but they did somehow scrounge together some coins for the twins, Dublin and Dayton, to go. And that really led to some more estrangement from their daughter Dallas, because she wanted to go to college really bad, but she was told that there just wasn't the money for it, and then all of a sudden her younger twins got to go. So Dallas does not really come and visit at all. I think the twins are a little bit more understanding, but they're also kind of like, our parents sucked. It's just a nice little quiet evening. It's springtime in this house. I think it was summer in all the other houses, but it's a springtime here. And then I wanted to go ahead and spruce up the yard just a little bit. Gorgeous. We have kind of a state of chaos in the backyard for now. I threw all the career rewards back there. This is actually, fun fact, the original Legacy house. So this is the house where the first generation started, where our legacy began, and now we are currently on the 4th generation. Just looking at everybody's ones. Nicole's thinking about herself. Nicole, I think, has just been very depressed her whole life. Never really found the fulfillment she thought she would get out of being a mother. She's thinking about aging. And then, like I said, Denver really had to wear down Sophie to get her to even date him, and then wear her down again to get her to move in. Denver is kind of a pest. He's very obsessed. He thinks he's a lot cooler than he is. Like, he thinks he's on par with Ted Mendoza, but the difference is that everybody actually thinks Ted Mendoza is, like, cool and fun and cute. Denver just does not have that charm. He's kind of annoying, but he's a popularity sim, and he's like, yeah, I'm like a romance sim. He's not. He is very clearly a popularity sim. Like I said, he keeps kind of failing upwards. Everything always works out for him. He gets the girl. He has a decent job. He's in level 6 of the politics career. But yeah, he has a decent job, a beautiful girlfriend. He lives in his parents' mansion, has the best relationship out of his siblings with his parents. I don't know, he just thinks like very highly of himself and doesn't really have a reason to. He's kind of like remarkably average, I would say. But he thinks he's like I said, like this Don Lothario, Ted Mendoza type. Like, why is he being Little Spoon right now? Well, I guess now he's Big Spoon. I don't know. He just cracks me up. Sophie really wants to get engaged to him for some reason. I think she sees the money signs. She is a fortune sim. She just really wants that security, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I would argue that the vast family wealth and, like, giant mansion they live in is a pretty good deal. I mean, she has to put up with Denver to, like, get that deal, so she's putting in the work. And I think she loves Denver. Oh my gosh. I was like, what's in the way? The cat. The cat is sleeping right in front of the fridge, but that's okay. She can grab a bite to eat at work. Sophie works in the military career. I think she's like level 4. She does like a civilian, like desk job. The cat in front of the fridge is so funny. Not a care in the world. Cat said no one's eating breakfast this morning. And I said it before, but for some reason there are just always disgusting dirty dishes in this house. I don't know what it is, so we just baked it into the storyline, but like no matter what time of day, no matter how many Sims live there, there's just always piles of dishes. Ooh, and I was like, that sounds like a thunderstorm. Cullen, similar to Charlie and Pal, has a big backyard garden. The garden's kind of left over from his grandmother, who is our legacy founder. She was a really big, like, gardening girly. But Cullen does not have the green thumb. I think he's just kind of going through the motions. I actually think after this harvest, we're going to take down the garden. Because neither Cullen nor Nicole nor Denver have nature as their one true hobby. Cullen, infamously, is obsessed with arts and crafts and his pottery wheel to the point that he neglected his children and his wife to pursue his pottery dreams, which, as you can tell, that Cullen's perma-platinum. Obviously, he achieved those dreams, but kind of at the detriment of not being a good father, the detriment of his wife, who's been in red aspiration most of her life. Cullen is very similar to Denver, or I should say Denver is very similar to Cullen. They're very, like I said, one-track minded. They can't really see outside themselves. They're like, I'm doing great, and that's all that matters. His dad doesn't realize how depressed his mom is. I think the rest of the family can kind of see Nicole is struggling, but no one really knows what to do. She's never really spoken about it before. Even Denver is getting a little worried about his mom's red aspiration. He's like, ooh, she's been in the red aspiration for quite some time. And I believe Nicole's one true hobby is tinkering. So I'm trying to get her a little mood boost by having her work on that. Cullen worked in the adventurer career. That little gold statue next to him is from the adventurer career track. I think it's a mood booster, so I think as long as they're like near it, it like gives them a nice boost, which I like to put in the garden so they can just garden forever. I've been really trying to get a plant sim. I don't know why I haven't been able to get one. I had another Legacy family that I played a little bit before I started this one, and they had like so many plant sims. And like plant sims are so awesome. They're my favorite. I had never really played with them before, but now they're definitely like some of my favorite sims to play with. So we're definitely gonna try to get some plant sims in the mix soon. Cullen's thinking about how they had all these kids together. They're kind of in denial that, like, they were bad parents. I think they really can't grasp how they might have not set their children up for success, how they were kind of distant. Cullen was always working on his pottery. Nicole was just always crying. Understandably so, she was raising 4 kids essentially alone. It's very similar, I would say, to Pal and Charlie kind of being obsessed with their gardening, but like even less self-aware. Like I would say that Pal was a better father than Cullen is, and that's not saying a lot. Like, the bar is on the floor. Cullen and Nicole just kind of do their own thing. I think they really liked having Woohoo, and they really liked each other, but then, like, they didn't really think about the consequences of having 4 children. And I think Nicole especially, she liked having little babies, but then as her children grew older, she didn't really know what to do with them. And she was kind of depressed, because she was like, maybe I don't really want to be a mom, but by that point, she was already 4 kids deep. Cullen and the butler are just working on the garden. None of these plants, I think, are, like, perfect. They all look kind of bland. But that's okay. Cullen does not have a green thumb. He is a pottery man through and through. His little humming while he waters the plants. And in the background, I think we have the culinary career track reward, a little chocolate maker, and the medicine career track reward. So we can make medicine in this house. Like I said, their backyard is a mess. I just threw all their career rewards from the various generations back there. We have a little chance card. Y'all can pause to read. Oh, he got a small bonus. Whoop-de-doo. I hate the, like, enthusiasm chance cards. I think I get, like, the gaming ones all the time. Oh my gosh, you can hear the cats fighting in the background. Ignore that. And this just kind of sums up how most of their days go. Cullen's always running around the house, doing whatever. And Nicole just kind of lies around, staring at the wall, miserable about her own life. She really wants another grandchild, or I should say a grandchild. I don't think they have any grandchildren yet. They have 4 children, no grandchildren. Denver's the oldest, and he just, I don't know, it took him a while to find Sophie. Dallas has been famously single for a minute, and here's Nicole just worrying about her life and how she's not a really good mother, and she's kind of a bad family sim. Not like a bad person, but when you think family sim, you think very fulfilled. For some reason, having the kids, raising them, was just not fulfilling for her, and she's like, maybe I'm not supposed to be a family sim. So she just spends most of her days around the house worrying. And that seems to be a recurring theme that we keep coming back to in this season of what is a fulfilled life anyway. It seems like Generation 3 of Viper Falls didn't really worry about this until their twilight years, but I think the newer generations are addressing these concerns earlier in life. Like I said, we have Cullen just in his own little world in the backyard. He's actually killing those plants. He does not have a green thumb whatsoever. Nicole will not stop worrying. I'm like, girl, go do something. Go talk about your hobby. And Sophie is home from work. She brought home a random townie. I don't know that lady's name. I feel like she's everyone's coworker. Like, I feel like people of all different jobs have brought this woman home from work. Banana is such a big cat. Like, I have never seen such a chunky cat. And Banana's mean, too. Like, Banana is always fighting with Apple. Well, Banana is losing those fights, apparently, but Banana is always picking fights, just being an absolute menace in the household, bullying the other cats, scaring the neighbors. I've never seen a cat in this game so big and mean. Cullen's not even doing anything beneficial. He's just killing the plants, and the butler's going behind him, cleaning up the plants. Like, that's not even gardening. I don't even know what you would call that. Like, environmental damage. He's been outside for hours watering the same plants. Nicole tried her hand at pottery, and then she was like, I don't really care about this. Like, nothing seems to make Nicole happy. Like, no matter what hobby she does, even her one true hobby, I think, is tinkering, that doesn't really make her happy. Nothing makes her happy. So I'm just going with the narrative that she is clinically depressed. And Cullen is just kind of, like, ignoring her. All her kids moved out and don't talk to her because she was, like, depressed and, like, not a good mom. So I feel for her, but it's also, like, the consequences of her own action. Oh my gosh. And then Sophie's coworker just starts bullying this poor woman. So we're going to ask her to leave. We're going to say, you need to get out of the house. We're not going to be bullied in our own home. She's already depressed. We don't need her being bullied on top of that. I think Sophie is, like, disturbed by the family dynamics, but also, like I said, it's a really nice house, it's a lot of money. She's like, okay, Denver's not that bad, he has a decent job, his parents are just bizarre, his mom's always crying, and his dad's just kind of, like, in his own little world. Like, his mom is so depressed, and his dad seems so oblivious. Oh! And Sophie is pregnant. And then Denver just came home from work. He also brought home a random townie. Sophie is now on maternity leave. You can see all the woman Denver's attracted to. Oh my gosh. And all Nicole does is just go around this house and cry. And I'm like, girly girl. Like, Sophie's always like, why is your mom always crying and no one talks about it? And Denver's like, oh, that's like just what she does. And Sophie's like, that's just what she does? What does that mean? You can literally hear her crying in the background. Sophie's trying to eat dinner and her mother-in-law is just crying. Or I guess soon-to-be mother-in-law. They're not engaged yet. But I think Denver needs to go ahead and start planning a wedding if they're having a baby together. Again, Denver thinks of himself as like a romance sim and a Casanova, but he doesn't really have any other options, and he's not a romance sim. So I don't know why he's dragging his feet and proposing. He's a popularity sim. I think popularity sims are, like, my least favorite sim to play. I don't know. They always just want to hang out with people. And I just really like focusing my sims on, like, their own life. I think family is definitely my favorite by far. I love making giant families and just playing legacy style. Limpo. How sweet of Sophie to make dinner for everybody, including Denver's coworker. Cullen's coming to grab a bite to eat. I have no idea how Cullen is in platinum aspiration. It's mystifying. Like I theorized before, I think he got a lot of fulfillment out of being a parent, whereas Nicole, on the other hand, I think she realized she doesn't really like being a family sim. Like, she thought she wanted to be a family sim her whole life, and then when she actually had the children, she felt very alone during their childhood, and just didn't get the fulfillment that she thought she would have. I think she felt like Cullen kind of slacked off, both helping the kids. He was very focused on his art and his career, and I think Nicole just kind of felt like she was drowning. Cullen, in my opinion, is a classic case of dads being applauded for doing the bare minimum. He was barely involved in the children's lives, but he was like, oh, I love having kids, I love being a dad, but Nicole was doing all the hard parts of parenting, and she, like I said, was kind of struggling to do it all by herself, even though they were married. Cullen was very much like, Nicole, you can take care of the kids, but she had her own career she wanted to work on, her own dreams that she wanted to pursue beyond being a mother that she just never really had the chance to reach. So I think that is the core issue between Cullen and Nicole. Nicole was doing all the parenting, trying to work, take care of the house, while Cullen kind of slacked off and just did whatever. And that resulted in their kids having very intense reactions to their childhoods. I know Dallas's episodes later, but she is one of my absolute favorite characters, or Sims. Oh! I was not paying attention that Nicole was at the end of her life. Oh, and of course, she's begging for more time because, like I was just saying, she did not have a good life. Let's see. Everybody got some money in the inheritance. It looks like Denver got the most, then Dallas. Oh, and then Denver immediately proposed to Sophie after the death of his mother. This was ACR. I guess he was like, wow, I need to get married. Stat. I think Denver's also feeling the pressure to get married before the baby is born. Oh, and the cats are very upset because I think the cats were the only ones who really appreciated Nicole. And I know Nicole wasn't the best mother, but I feel like her children didn't really appreciate that she was kind of doing it all by herself while Cullen kind of slacked off. Like, I think all the children's resentment and anger towards their parents should really be on Cullen. He did not help out Nicole at all, and he kept getting her pregnant and not helping with the kids and just doing his art forever. You'll see in this episode, Cullen is always at that dang pottery wheel. So much other stuff will be happening in the house, and he's just like doing pottery in the corner. Okay, so that was a lot that just happened in like 60 seconds. So Nicole died. Oh, I thought he was gonna cry, but he just sneezed. Nicole died. Denver and Sophie are now engaged. So I guess we'll go ahead and start planning a wedding. Oh my gosh, these cats will not stop meowing. Okay. I guess we'll go ahead and start planning a wedding for Sophie and Denver, because it seems like Denver really wants them to get married before the baby's born so they can be a traditional family. I think Denver didn't really care about that before. I think it was kind of funny that he was so, like, pressed to have his first kiss and get a girlfriend, but then once he got a girlfriend, he was like, okay, this is all I want. Oh, and his coworker witnessed all that. Talking about sewing and art. I think Denver's like, my dad loves the art. And now, of course, Nicole is gone, Cullen is having a real moment. I never know the correct way to answer this. Sometimes I say yes and like a person doesn't come up, and sometimes I say no and they do. It's worded like confusing the way it's like yes or no. I know it's like, are you okay with this? Anyway, I'm proud of Denver for not cheating on his pregnant fiance. That is a surprisingly good decision. So Cullen is heartbroken. Again, I think he really took Nicole for granted while she was here. Now that she's gone, he is so sad, but that's not going to stop him from working on his pottery. And he immediately wants to fall in love again. My dude, you are like 80 years old and you have 4 children. Maybe focus on your family right now. And then we're gonna go ahead and put Denver to bed. It's getting late and he has work the next morning. But he wants to have a big wedding party and also befriend his coworker, like whatever. I simply do not care about my Sims having friends. I think that's why popularity Sims are so hard for me to play. I don't care. You can hear the flies buzzing from downstairs. Again, I don't know what it is with this house. It's perpetually covered in dirty dishes. But this is a sweet moment, I guess. I don't know. Like, Denver and Sophie seemed happy, and she accepted his engagement. She got pregnant by him, so I guess she likes him. Even if I personally can't see the appeal of Denver, I guess Sophie can. And she's immediately thinking about a punching bag? It looks like yes. So anyway, as I was saying, I think the resentment that Denver's other siblings struggle with towards their parents about their childhood, they need to direct that anger towards Cullen, because Cullen is just not a very attentive father, but somehow reaped all the benefits of fatherhood and parenthood, is in platinum aspiration, despite not really raising his children. He's similar to Denver in the sense that they are both just constantly failing upwards. Again, he is always at this pottery wheel. But I don't know, I love playing Sims like this because, like, sometimes the sucky people do have the best moods, good things happening to them. Denver's coworker is still wandering around. This evening probably traumatized him. And Cullen really wants Sophie and Denver to get married. He also wants relatives to get joined, which is the Sims 2's reminder that this game was made in 2004, and for some reason, same-sex Sims can only be joined, not married. I thought I had a mod in that corrected that to marriage, but I guess I didn't install it right, so we'll definitely fix that. But that's why he has those two, like, same wants. It's the same thing. And I guess it's cool that he's understanding that the twins are gay. Again, the bar is on the floor. He's not homophobic. Like, the bare minimum you can do as a parent is let your child love who they love. But you know what? We'll take it. Cullen needs all the redeeming qualities that he can get. And then he also has a big fear of Nicole coming back as a zombie. I think similar to how Charlie was really afraid of Pal coming back. The third generation just does not really understand resurrection quite yet. The science isn't quite there yet in Viper Falls, so they're a little hesitant of this new technology that claims to bring Sims back. I don't know. We still have to see if Dylan's going to get that resurrection phone from his career. The phone is a really cool career reward. You literally call it and you can bring back anyone if you pay the right price. And as I said before, Cullen is just absolutely obsessed with his pottery wheel. He has not stopped sculpting since Nicole died. The rest of the house is asleep, but he is still hard at work making that pottery. I'm not really sure if there are any benefits to, like, the pottery hobby. I know with the other hobbies, they get some cool rewards with the badges, like gold badge and tinkering gives you the servos. I thought he was gonna cry, but he's more upset that he smells bad. He's still thinking about Nicole. I guess that's good that he's upset. I don't know, no one seems like too upset, which makes me sad, but it also kind of speaks to how much they took Nicole for granted, that even when she has died, no one's really mourning her properly. No one seems really upset that she's gone. Denver has absolutely no interest in even pretending to want to resurrect his mom or anything. He's just like, oh, okay, we're getting married. Cullen just didn't take a shower, and he's gonna get into bed all stinky. So it goes. Anyway, the flower arranging, whatever, hobby. I know if they reach maximum enthusiasm and they have a gold badge, they can create the Snapdragon flower, which is really, really beneficial. It pretty much increases everybody's needs all the time, so you can put that in, like, businesses and stuff and just have your Sims working like crazy. But I don't think the pottery career has anything cool like that. I think they can just build a giant vase. Okay, and now Denver has rolled the want to resurrect his mom. He's finally mourning Nicole. He just had to sleep on it first. There are murmurings going around the town that Dylan is working to get some type of special phone, but nobody really knows what that entails, and everyone's kind of scared that it's just going to bring a bunch of zombies back. So Sophie is just sleeping. It is 3 in the morning. Denver got up to take a shower because that's just the kind of guy he is. He's like, if my hygiene's low, I'm gonna take a shower at 3 in the morning instead of just waiting for sunrise. Denver is always about doing things the most logical way, even if it's not the most practical. I think Sophie is a little stressed out. She saw kind of how the men in the family treated Nicole to the point that Nicole died fairly young in her elder stage, as she died in red aspiration. And despite being a family sim and raising 4 children, she led a pretty unfulfilled life because, as I've said, Cullen was just not the best husband. He wasn't very supportive. He was way too focused on living that artist life rather than, helping raise his children. And somehow Denver is a state assembly person, which is kind of scary. So Denver is making laws for Viper Falls. I'm sure he's kind of corrupt. I'm sure he has lots of focus groups in his pocket, or he's in their pocket, I should say. And he's just playing some Sims 3 now before work. When the children were younger, Cullen bought a bunch of video games at the store because that's, again, the kind of dad he is. Rather than parent, he was just like, here, play these video games for hours while I work on my pottery. So now Denver is playing, I think this is, The Herbs. Yeah. This was the first Sims game I played, so I have a real soft spot for this. It's crazy too. At the time, I thought it was like so advanced, so many options, and now I'm like, oh, they have like 10 shirts to choose from, like 3 hairstyles. I did love in the earlier iterations of the game, you could control the ghost, so that was always really fun to be a ghost like haunting around. Alright, and then Sophie has the night off as she is very pregnant. Oh, and I forgot that they're actually engaged now because Denver did randomly propose right when his mom died. Odd place to do it, but the ACR kicked in. I guess Denver realized life is fleeting and he wants to have a wedding. And his dad also wants him to get married. I like how his dad also immediately rolled the want to fall in love again. He's very old and he has 4 adult children. I think he should just focus on his career, or not career, his pottery hobby. Ooh, and we have a nice thunderstorm this morning. It's nearing the end of spring. April showers bring May flowers, etc., etc. Banana is like the biggest cat I've ever seen in this game. I know I've said that before. I'm fascinated by how big she is. She is truly a modern marvel. Also, I didn't realize you could rename the pets. That seems kind of like counterintuitive. Like, you get a pet and you name it. You don't get to change its name all the time. Like, how is your pet supposed to learn their name if you change it? I went ahead and set up the backyard for a wedding. I think we're going to have Denver take the day off work and get them married before this baby comes. We'll switch the radio to classical music, and then once it hits 7 a.m., we'll throw this party. Hopefully it stops raining soon. I don't like using weather cheats to alter the weather. I like playing kind of... Okay, she's gonna dance. I like playing realistic, so when it like rains, snows, whatever, I'm like, that's just how life is. Sometimes you could plan a gorgeous outdoor wedding and it's gonna rain. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, I guess they're good for each other. I don't know. They match each other's freak, that's for sure. I side-eye any woman who's able to put up with Denver because, like I said, in my head, I just have him casted as this very annoying, like feeling upward. He's always kind of saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing, focusing on the wrong things, and yet he gets a promotion, he's getting engaged, he's having a baby. Life seems to be working out for him pretty great. We're gonna go ahead and have Denver throw the wedding party. I guess they're still dancing in the backyard. And the cats sound like they're hungry, so we will make sure they are nice and fed before the wedding starts. Sounds like Cullen is watching some sports on TV. Again, sums up Cullen's kind of lack of interest. He's like totally oblivious to the fact that Denver is planning this wedding. Cullen's just up watching TV, not really trying to help with anything, because why would he? He's spent his whole life not helping with anything. Why would he start now? I have such a soft spot for Nicole. I'm sad she doesn't get to see, I guess, any of her kids get married. None of them are married. So that's really sad. Nicole passed before any of her children got married. And Denver, you are not going to work today. We're going to go ahead and change into some formal wear. Nice tux. And then we're going to change Sophie into some formal wear as well. I'll have to click around for a minute and see what shows her bump. Like what's going to be a pregnancy safe dress. I think that one works. It's still pouring rain, but it is okay. And it looks like the wedding guests have arrived. Who is wearing the Santa suit? Oh my gosh. Dawson. Okay, whatever. At least no one's wearing a white dress. If someone shows up in a white dress, I try to change it. Unless I think that it would be good for the plot. I like how Dublin and Dayton are both wearing red. It's a twin thing. They're very close. So we're gonna go ahead and get this wedding started. It looks like the rain is letting up, maybe. Cullen's inside taking a bath, whatever. Everyone's like disgusted that Cullen's taking a bath. Maybe he like walked by the window and everybody saw him naked. And here's Dallas. She is one of my favorite Sims. I can't wait to share more of her story in upcoming episodes. I decided to go ahead and put a little canopy tent over the guest. Didn't really like that one because I feel like it wasn't like covering from the rain, but this one does the job nicely. And then Denver and Sophie can be covered under the archway. So now everybody is nice and covered, and we're gonna go ahead and get this wedding started. Again, love how everybody is disgusted by Cullen. I'm going with the narrative. He just flashed the whole wedding ceremony. He's still upstairs taking a bath, but hopefully he gets downstairs soon to see his firstborn son get married and the first of his children get married. And we have one seat open. I love when I do that. For him right there. Oh! No, we don't. The butler's going to take that seat. It's totally fine. You snooze, you lose. I think Denver was waiting a second to see if his dad was going to come out, and it looks like Cullen's going to miss this wedding. Without Nicole around, Cullen is definitely dropping the ball on big events, and I know that it really hurts Denver to not have his mom or dad at his wedding. So sweet, and they are officially married. Oh, and here comes Cullen. He missed the whole ceremony. He showed up in the wrong clothes. He had to change real quick. That is just the type of guy that Cullen is. That's the type of man he is, the type of dad he is. He missed his firstborn son's wedding, the first wedding of his children. Wow. Yeah, Denver is mad. I think for the first time in his life, Denver is mad at his dad. He always gave his dad excuses. He kind of brushed off his mom for being upset that his dad was always, I don't know, not hanging out with the kids. And Denver was like, it's fine. And now I think Denver's realizing it's not fine that his mom was doing all the heavy lifting of the parenting. She was the reason that Cullen would show up when he did. Denver didn't even want to do a toast or cake cutting right away. He was so upset. He just had to come inside and eat alone for a minute because he's like, wow, my dad really does not have his priorities straight. And I think for the first time, Denver is starting to question if he has his own priorities straight. Denver's starting to wonder if he made a mistake. He likes Sophie a lot, but I think he was just so desperate for, like, a girlfriend, and she was the first girl to give him the time of day, that he wanted to lock it down immediately. And because, like I said, Denver always kind of fails upwards, focuses on the wrong thing. So Denver is taking this lesson of his dad not being there at his own wedding. Oh my gosh, and everyone's outside waiting to make a toast to the bride and groom. The bride and groom are processing a lot. Anyway, Denver is totally learning the wrong lesson from this. And he's like, wow, I should have played the field more. I don't know if I want to be married and have children. I want to be a bachelor, but I mean, it's a little bit late for that. Like, Sophie's about to pop any day now, and they're officially married. Here comes Denver. He's thinking about how he just got married. Who changed the radio station? I'm cracking up. They said enough of this classical music, we're here to dance. And now I think Denver's outside, ready to cut the cake. Some random jogger came by to join the toast. This is a town of alcoholics. Oh my god, not the stink that Cullen left in that chair. What? Cullen, he was in the bath, like, flashing people. Like, what? I thought he was being clean this whole time. Looks like he didn't even clean himself. Anyway, we're moving on with the wedding. Like, Cullen's not there. And he was like, this thing is really stuffy. And Cullen went inside. Cullen's done with this whole wedding thing. And Denver's just really upset, I think, because he's like, my dad is not the man I thought he was. I know that his mom told him, or like he knew his mom was unhappy, but he just thought she was being dramatic, not really listening. I think Sophie can tell that Denver is upset about his dad, but Sophie's not really surprised about Cullen's behavior because, yeah, everyone else could see it, especially the woman in this family could see it clear as day that Cullen was not a very attentive father. He's very selfish. He acts like a single man, like he doesn't have 4 children. And even on his son's wedding day, he is just so focused on doing the things that he wants to do. Dayton is tearing up the dance floor. Dublin and Dayton, they are one of my favorite households to play. I can't wait till we get to their rotation. They have a lot going on. Yeah, Cullen stinks. I don't know what his deal was. Like I said, he was in the shower when all the guests arrived. I guess just not cleaning himself. The rest of Denver's siblings wrote off their dad a long time ago. But like I said, Denver just always focuses on the wrong things. He's kind of doing the wrong things. He keeps failing upwards. It's no secret among the siblings that Denver is the favorite sibling of their dad. But they're all kind of like, wow, like their dad couldn't even go to his favorite child's wedding because he was so focused on what he wanted to do. Even now, he's just being outside stinky and drinking. Like, everybody else has moved inside. Also, I love that it stopped raining right at the end of the party. That's just how The Sims 2 rolls, baby. Regardless of all the drama, Denver and Sophie still had a good wedding party. It wasn't a roof raiser, but that is okay. Not every party can be a roof raiser. Oh my gosh. And then I have a mod to let the limo come back and take them for a little honeymoon. I believe Bon Voyage took out this feature, but it was one of my favorite features to play with when I was younger. They always do a little honeymoon for like an hour or two in game after the ceremony. And oh my gosh, Denver is so upset about his dad's behavior. He's not going on the honeymoon. Sophie's gonna go on the honeymoon by herself. She's gonna go hang out in a spa by herself. Wow. I know that Denver's stuck on this porch because there's too many wedding guests trying to leave, but again, we're going with the narrative that Denver just left his pregnant bride on the honeymoon in the limo by herself. And she's starting to realize that maybe she also made a mistake and shouldn't have married Denver. Like I said, Denver kind of had to wear her down. He did a lot of begging to be with her, bartering. Other women just were not interested in Denver, and Sophie at the time was like, oh, nice, I don't have to worry about cheating. But now she's like, wow, maybe there's a reason that no other woman wanted to be seen with this man. And everybody seems to be having issues leaving this house. Denver is just kind of staring at his dad. He's like, have I gotten it wrong my whole life? Have I had my perspective wrong my whole life? Dawson in the Santa suit is so funny. Sophie's back from the honeymoon. Her needs are nice and green, but she's mad. She is understandably pissed. She's like, he left me alone on the honeymoon. Dawson and his Santa suit are suddenly looking very good. So now Sophie is like, whatever. There's other hot men in this family. Cullen is in the backyard, still having a complete and total mental breakdown. He is very stinky. He is drinking alone. There's a lot going on. And Sophie is just totally over it. She cannot believe that Denver left her to go on the honeymoon by herself. I mean, she can believe it because that's kind of on par for their relationship, but she really thought he had changed. He wanted to get married so badly, and then it was like a switch flipped the second they said I do, and he started panicking. He is totally avoiding any and all interaction with his newlywed wife, who is now very far along in her pregnancy. Denver knows he messed up. He knows he should have gone on the honeymoon, but he is kind of having a downward spiral for the first time in his life. Like I said, Denver's kind of coasted through life. Things have always worked out for him. He's always gotten the job, the girl, the promotions, whatever he wanted. And now that his mom has died, he's kind of realizing that his mom was the glue that held this family together, and his dad really is not the best. And he really thought he was going to get some after he abandoned his pregnant wife on their honeymoon. Like, think again, my friend. You are not getting anything anytime soon. Or I stand corrected. Again, Denver always gets what he wants. He's always kind of failing upwards. People don't really take him seriously because he's so goofy. But he's kind of cutthroat about getting what he wants. And like I said, he always gets what he wants somehow. He is a good businessman. Okay, whatever. Side-eyeing Sophie. But I guess in her mind, she's like, this is my husband. He didn't come on the honeymoon, so we just had a little honeymoon at home. Sophie's super pregnant. She is just trying to make it work for the sake of her baby. But there's definitely some cracks in this foundation. And like I said, Denver and Cullen are kind of having an unspoken beef right now. For the first time in his life, Denver's mad at his father. He always made excuses for him before. He always favored his dad. He loved being told that he looked like his dad because he is his dad's twin growing up. But now he's like, I don't want to be like this man. And he's really finally saying what his siblings have been saying for years, that his dad is not the best. and he's just gonna go ahead and go to sleep kind of early tonight, 7:30 p.m. He doesn't want to be around his dad. He doesn't want to think about if he just made a big mistake by getting married. I mean, a little too late for that. You're married and your wife's about to give birth any day now. So now let's go check back in on Cullen. All his wants are focused around himself, despite being a family sim. He doesn't really care about... Oh my gosh, that cat crying. He doesn't really care about his family. He doesn't care about getting grandkids or seeing his family or seeing anyone get married. He just doesn't want Denver to get divorced. But I feel like that's kind of like more for appearances than anything else. He doesn't really care. And he also, like I said, or as we saw, he didn't really even come to the wedding. He is just always working on his pottery. Okay, now he wants to have a grandbaby. Now he rolled some family wants. He heard me complaining. I like how the butler is outside, still in his wedding attire, doing some late night lawn care. Sophie has almost no relationship with Cullen, which shouldn't be surprising. As we've seen, Cullen doesn't really put in any effort, and Denver also doesn't really put in that much effort, but I think Denver is kind of a workaholic. Okay, all those are boring. But yeah, Denver's kind of a workaholic. And I think especially now with all the drama with his dad and the wedding, he is just going to spend more and more time at work and less time at home. And Sophie's trying to make it work for the sake of their kids. She's like, I'm super pregnant. We're married now. I'm in this family now. She's putting aside her anger towards Denver for abandoning her on the honeymoon. She kind of understands that he was really upset about his dad not being at the wedding and then showing up late, very stinky and kind of drunk. And Denver is trying to rationalize that his dad's also grieving because the life partner he's had for so many years is now gone, and Denver is finally realizing that his mother, Nicole, was the glue of this family, that every good thing he had from his childhood and later in life was because of his mom. Cullen is just working on his art. He didn't even say sorry to Sophie and Denver for missing so much of their wedding, which rubs more salt in the wound that he doesn't even seem aware of how badly he hurt Denver. Sophie's not too hurt. Everyone else seems to be able to see that Cullen kind of is not a good parent, but Denver, for some reason, had rose-colored glasses on and was just adamant that his dad was the best. He loved his dad, and now Denver's like, wow, my dad really ain't all that. He's all that in a bag of chips, but all the chips are crushed. Denver is just making some late night dinner. He is, like I said, he's totally heartbroken that his dad isn't the best. His mom is gone. He's heading into a very dark place. He didn't even go to his own honeymoon. And Sophie, like I said, is working to forgive him, but that's easier said than done, and she's also very upset. So now Denver is just eating. Cullen is reflecting on the day he's had. I don't think he told Denver and Sophie congratulations on the wedding. He just doesn't want them to get divorced, like I said, for his own ego. The third generation of Viper Falls is very, very, very preoccupied with how others see them, their very traditional values, all that good stuff, holding up, I guess, like toxic values to the detriment of their family, refusing to have hard conversations with each other. Sophie's trying to keep conversation light. She's still a little mad that Denver abandoned her on their honeymoon, but she's like, we're married now, we're about to have a baby, let's make it work. And I think Denver is a lot more like his father than he realizes, even though he's mad at his dad and he's trying, I don't know, to be better. He has a lot of his father's traits. He's very selfish. It's all about what he wants. He's not really thinking about the good of the family. And it is 1 in the morning, but he went ahead and called his sister Dallas to have a chat. And he was just kind of like, yeah, you were right. Dad kind of isn't a good parent. And Sophie, again, is alone. Denver loves chatting with Dallas. They're very close, even though they're very different and had very different outlooks on their childhoods. Dallas kind of always felt like she was pushed aside. Denver was the golden child, and then they had the younger twin siblings who got a lot of attention. So Dallas felt very alone, and Dallas kind of clocked it from a young age that their dad wasn't the best, and their mom was doing the best with what she could, but it was kind of hard to keep her head afloat with 4 children and the husband not really helping out. So then Denver just called his little sister Dallas to be like, hey, you were right all along. Mom was kind of holding the family together, but at the detriment of her own sanity. And Colin just went ahead and went to bed. And so did Denver and Sophie. Everybody is sleeping. It has been a long, eventful day. A lot of family dynamics were revealed today. I think Sophie and Denver are both like, did I make a mistake? They're both thinking they made a mistake getting married for different reasons. Denver's like worried that he was just motivated by the grief from his mother to kind of try to make the best out of his life. But he's like, do I even want to be married? Again, a little too late for that. What's done is done. And Sophie's like, I should have never agreed to even date this man. This family has so many issues. But again, they're in it now. And everything is just very quiet in the house. I think Sophie's like, you should talk to your dad about his behavior and how upset you were with him about the wedding. And Denver's kind of like dragging his feet. Denver's like, we don't do that here. Denver, of course, is thinking about himself as he sleeps. He's worried about his own reputation. As I've said many times, Denver didn't really have much luck with the ladies. Sophie was the first girl to give him a chance, so he locked that down. But of course, now that he's married, he's like, oh, maybe I should have played the field more. Forgetting the fact that he tried to play the field and no one really had any interest in playing with him. And now it is 6 in the morning. Everybody is waking up. I don't think anyone really got a well-rested sleep. Everybody was kind of tossing and turning. A lot of thoughts going around everyone's minds. I think it's funny that both Sophie and Denver are having doubts about this marriage. Both of them are like, I don't even know if I want to be married to this person. And yet they're just continuing with this charade. I guess they're both like, we're in too deep, it's official, we're having a baby. But kind of interesting they got like this far. Again, I think Denver was very motivated from grief when he proposed to Sophie. He was so distraught about his mom dying. He was like, I need to make my own family and start my own traditions. And then his dad's behavior at his wedding just totally made him like scared, I guess, to be a dad. He's like, I don't want to be anything like that man. He's been told his whole life he's just like his dad, that he's his dad's twin. And he kind of saw his dad in a bad light for the first time ever. Now he's really afraid that he's going to end up the same way. But again, a common theme among this family is they do not talk about their feelings ever, and a lot of things kind of go unspoken and just affect their day-to-day behaviors. Now, Cullen is talking to Dayton, who is one half of the twins, Dublin and Dayton. Cullen does have a decent relationship with all of his children. I think he was always like the fun dad growing up, so they do have good memories of that. But as they got older, they all kind of saw how he didn't really want to be a dad. He spent a lot of time doing pottery, not going to school events, not coming to like baseball games and stuff because he was too busy with his art. He's not really a successful artist either. He's never sold his art. And he somehow is in perma-platinum because he's always done things how he's wanted to his whole life. So even though he's kind of neglected his children, not been the best father, totally missed Denver's wedding, he is in a great mood all the time because he's like, I feel so fulfilled from doing my art. And Denver is heading off to his work and the political career track. Sophie is eating some French toast alone. She's still thinking about the wedding from yesterday too. She can't really breeze past it like it seems like the men in the house are doing. It really affected her having to go on the honeymoon by herself. She felt kind of humiliated, honestly. And it was kind of like she saw how her husband's father acted and like the type of role model that her husband had growing up. And now she's like, oh no, like, is he going to behave this way around our children? And Cullen's always been like, I'm a family sim. But it doesn't really seem like he has his priorities straight. Here he is sitting in front of the family portrait. He's sitting in front of his own family portrait, of course. And next to him is his mother, Brittany. Sophie's taking a bath. I think it's funny, in this big house, they're kind of avoiding each other. Sophie and Cullen, as I've said before, don't really have a strong relationship. And Sophie has been kind of horrified by his behavior towards his son, and also kind of horrified at how Denver thinks this is a normal father-son relationship. Again, I think the wedding opened everyone's eyes to how crazy the dynamics in this house are, and just how completely oblivious Denver is to how he comes across, and how Denver is an elderly sim, and he's a perma-platinum, but he's perma-platinum like at the expense of everybody else. He didn't really raise his children, he kind of shoved it all on Nicole, and she pretty much had a nervous breakdown and passed away fairly young into the elder stage. Sophie is channeling all this emotions into the piano. She's a very gifted piano player. I think Cullen installed this piano shortly after she moved in. That's always kind of been the family's MO. They just kind of throw money at the problem, or like, you know what I mean, buy things for other people. They've always had a decent amount of money. The house they live in is actually the original legacy house from Generation 1. So Ella, the founding sim, started the whole family here. So that's why they have so much money. I'm not sure how Cullen ended up with the house out of all the grandchildren, but he did. They're not necessarily good with money. They just kind of fell into it, similar to how Denver just kind of keeps falling into promotions and romance and a family of his own. I feel like the men in this house don't really take any responsibility for their own life. They're always just like, oh, things just happen. But they don't like stop and think about all the work behind the scenes. Like in Cullen's case, all the work Nicole was doing to keep the family afloat. And now that Nicole has unfortunately passed on, it's very apparent to everybody, even the neighbors, that Nicole was the glue that held this family together. And Cullen, frankly, is just not doing a great job of keeping everything afloat. He is failing, and he is failing hard. And then we have Banana, of course, being big and scary. I'm kind of scared of Banana. Again, I've never seen a cat in game this big. She is pure muscle. She's always fighting the other cat, as you can see. Yeah, she hates the other cat. I feel so bad for the other cat just getting like beat up all the time. They are always fighting. I didn't realize it until like this round when I like looked and I was like, "Oh, I never really played with pets before, so I didn't like realize they would fight each other. Or when I did play, I think I would just have like one pet at a time, so it never occurred to me that the pets would not like each other." And of course, Cullen is just making one bad decision after another. He is so lonely following Nicole's death. He's like, we should get another cat. Totally oblivious to the fact that the cats they do have seem to despise each other. They're always fighting. But in Cullen's mind, he's like, I'm lonely. Let's get another cat. And I think that was kind of the similar mindset he had when he had all the children. He kept being like, let's have another baby. It'll be fun. And then once the babies were born, he was just totally focused on his pottery. And like I was kind of saying before, his pottery's never really made the family any money. It's been strictly a hobby for him. And I actually think I've been calling the other cat Apple this whole time. The other cat in the house is actually Pear. So we're gonna name this new cat Apple because things aren't confusing enough. So now we have Banana is the big one, Pear is the poor cat being beat up, and Apple is the family kitten. Of course, Cullen adopted this new cat when Denver was on work, maybe a bit subconsciously because he knew his son was going to be like, what are you doing? We're about to have a newborn baby. There's enough going on in this house. The cats are already fighting all the time. Cullen definitely has weaponized incompetence. He definitely acts like he doesn't know what's going on, but he definitely does. I think he is kind of just a selfish man who didn't necessarily realize all the work that fatherhood would entail. He just liked the title of being a dad. Aw, you can hear the new baby Apple crying. I like how the adoption officer went right to Sophie. They were like, oh, you must be the responsible adult in the house. And Sophie's kind of like, what do you mean he adopted a kitten? I'm about to give birth any minute now. I think Cullen's like in the shower or something. He didn't even go outside to go see the new kitten he adopted. But Sophie's like, whatever, this cat is ours now. Her pregnancy hormones have her feeling very emotional. And especially after feeling so abandoned on her wedding day, on her honeymoon. I think she sees a common friend in this cat. But she's also like, what is he doing? My needs are all over the place right now. I can't take care of a kitten. So we're going to go ahead and have Cullen come outside and move this kitten into the house. Kittens and puppies can't go upstairs. So you always have to make sure that you pick them up and put them inside or they won't be able to eat and then they'll come and be taken by animal control. It's also 3 in the afternoon. Cullen is still in his pajamas. He just kind of is like a bitter old man, but he won't admit that he's bitter. He just kind of self-sabotages. So now he is inside the house with baby Apple. We can put the cat down. I'm kind of nervous to see how Banana handles having another cat in the house because Banana doesn't seem too happy with the cat already in the house. The butler, as usual, is taking care of the lawn because Cullen just does not touch it anymore. Cullen and Nicole kind of worked on their garden a little bit, but after Nicole's passing, Cullen was like, I don't want to see it anymore. And he just totally removed the garden, wiped out everything in the backyard. So now he's just always in the house in his pajamas, working on his pottery. And as I've been trying to say, he really has not made much of a profit with the pottery. He's always talked about opening up a store and selling his artwork there, but that hasn't come to fruition quite yet. So he just keeps making all of these vases, and there's not really any room to put them in the house. Sophie made a quesadilla for lunch. She's eating alone, and she's a little nervous that her father-in-law will come and join her. But not to worry, he is taking a bath, as he seems to always be taking a bath. I don't know what this man's obsession is with a bath. He also seems perpetually stinky, so I don't know if he's, like, cleaning himself right. Denver is finally home from work. He's gonna pay the bills, as Sophie's been so, like, just fatigued with her pregnancy, and his dad's doing who knows what. And Denver is a little miffed that his dad adopted another cat. He's like, we don't really have the capacity to have another pet right now. We're about to have a baby in the house. Cullen's like, I like having cats. And Denver just kind of drops it. And then Sophie's like, I cannot deal with tension in this house. So she went to bed. At 5:30 in the afternoon, her energy bar is super low. So she's just sleeping and trying to avoid this family drama. Denver is really afraid of Sophie hating him, because I think Denver's like, oh, I kind of messed up yesterday by not going on the honeymoon. That's kind of a big deal, to abandon your pregnant wife on the honeymoon and make her go to it alone. Like, Denver needs to realize that, yes, he has family issues and daddy issues, apparently, but he needs to prioritize his wife and his new family. And the way she's hopping out of bed, Sophie is giving birth to Denver's first child and Cullen's first grandchild. I'm really interested to see if the arrival of this baby makes Cullen finally shape up, but I kind of doubt it. He had 4 children of his own. He missed his son's wedding. I don't see a new baby changing anything for him. And here is the sweet newborn. Let's see if it is a boy or a girl. It's a baby girl, and we're gonna name her Ilani to keep with the E theme for the 5th generation. It's crazy, we are on generation 5 now in Viper Falls. Per usual, Cullen loves the title of being a grandfather, but I don't think his help with the baby will go beyond that. And then I put a crib in the bedroom and put Ilani in some cute little baby clothes. And then I quickly realized that they could not actually walk through this small gap, so I had to move the crib. And Cullen's trying to flatter Sophie. He's like, you look great after giving birth. You were a beautiful bride. And Sophie's like, too little, too late. She can be polite and courteous to him, and she's not going to make small talk or act like things are fine between them when they clearly aren't. So then I had to move the crib around. And then I realized, like, the tile gap was too small. All his yelling was waking up Sophie, this crazy old man. At least Cullen had the wherewithal to put baby Ilani in the crib instead of leaving her on the floor. A little scared about Banana lurking, afraid that Banana is going to mess with the baby. I know they can't, but it's my game, and this is the narrative we're playing. Banana is big and mean. Felt like that chair didn't really go there anymore. Just wanted to make more room in the house. Sophie does not want to talk to Cullen. She's like, please stop talking to me. You ruined our wedding. You made Denver so upset. He didn't come to the honeymoon. You need to stop. Sophie doesn't really have the, like, fatherly connection that the rest of the family has with Cullen, so she is quick to be like, he needs to stop. She's starting to find her patience wearing thin, especially being freshly postpartum. I think she is going to have a talk with Denver and tell him that he needs to get his dad in line, or they need to put Cullen in a nursing home because she does not want Cullen around the grandchildren. She's like, he is so erratic and impulsive, and she frankly does not trust him. And she's like, we can't leave him to babysit. He's not going to take care of the baby. Denver is outside working on his robotic dream. I think he's really been inspired by Mr. Worldwide and Fancy Nancy running around the neighborhood. He's like, I want to make something of myself too. I want to work on a robot. But he totally missed the birth of his first child to be outside working on this robot. And he's super low in the tinkering hobby, so he can't even really do much. He doesn't even have any badges yet. So he is already following a similar suit to his dad, choosing his own dreams versus focusing on the family at hand. And Sophie is like, wow, this family has so much bad art hanging up. They're very obsessed with appearances, but nobody is really doing the work. And Sophie is just feeling so gutted by this whole experience. It was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, her wedding, and then the birth of her first child, but both times Denver completely dropped the ball, left her alone for both of them. Cullen, unfortunately, was more present for the birth than Denver was. So I think that shows that for all Cullen's faults, he already is kind of being, I don't know, a better father figure than his own son. So Denver is similar to his dad, but also worse at the same time. Sophie is big time regretting marrying into this family, but now she has a child and she doesn't really know what to do. And like I've said, this family has a lot of money. They're kind of the original legacy house, so it's a lot of old money in this house. So Sophie is really thinking about herself and if she's gonna stick around. And I think she is, because like I said, there's a lot of money insecurity in the house, and she's afraid of being a single mom living by herself. She knows Denver definitely would not co-parent. He would just probably relinquish all his rights to Alani. Denver still has not gone inside to see his daughter. He's doing yoga in the backyard because his body is so tense from all the robot making he's been doing. He's trying to find inner peace as Sophie is being awoken by the newborn and getting up at midnight to change her diaper and do some feedings. And Sophie is just so angry is not even the right word. Like, she's just so disappointed in the man that she has married, and that she was fooled by all his false promises. Like I said, Denver can talk a big game. He can, like, make things sound really good. He's a schmoozer through and through. He's a politician after all. So Denver can talk a lot of empty promises, but at the end of the day, that's just all his talk is, empty promises. And he is sleeping soundly in bed as Sophie is caring for their newborn daughter. She is freshly postpartum. Denver is just worried about where his own life is going. He's like, I want to explore my own hobbies and skills. And Sophie's like, you need to come and be present with your daughter. I know Sophie said she didn't want to be a single mom, but in my opinion, she already kind of is one, because I can't believe Denver just totally dropped the ball like that. Didn't even want to meet his newborn daughter. And Pear is sleeping on a stinky cat bed because the only one who really does any cleaning around here is the butler. And when the butler is not home, nothing is clean. Denver and Cullen are just sleeping or working on their personal hobbies and totally neglecting any and all family time. And Sophie's kind of mad at herself because she feels like she saw the writing on the wall. She was very hesitant to be involved with Denver, but he really pursued her and romanced her. And she thought he was gonna make it right, or she thought he was gonna, like, shape up, but maybe she had judged him too harshly, that she had judged his book by its cover, but it turns out she judged him exactly as she should have. And now Sophie is finally getting a chance to make herself a late night snack After caring for baby Alani, the cats are hungry, the kitchen is a complete mess, and Sophie's like, I just can't care anymore. She's gonna pour all her love and care into baby Alani because that's where her priority is, raising her daughter the best she can be, despite Denver's lack of involvement. Sophie is a fortune sim, not a family sim, so her priority is also going to be on her career. I think she's like level 4 in the military career, and she didn't really like maternity leave. She missed working, and she was also going kind of crazy being around Cullen all the time. So I think Sophie is not going to take any maternity leave after the arrival of Alani. She's going to jump right back into work and just tell Cullen to like figure it out. I guess she feels okay leaving Alani home with Cullen because the butler will be there, and she knows the butler will be taking care of the baby because Cullen definitely won't be. Cullen will probably be working on his art sculptures again, and here he is at 5 in the morning. As soon as he got out of bed, he's just sculpting. He has a lot of like local awards from local shows he's done, but again, nothing really profitable. Sophie's like, I'm taking out the trash the day after I gave birth because no one else in this house will. Cullen finished a tiny tea set. Okay, and there's the sad little garden that Cullen has completely forgotten about. Sophie is so excited to go to work. She's never been so excited to go to work. She likes working, but she's like, I need to get out of this house. These people are making me feel crazy. And this morning, actually, Cullen is struck with an idea. And I think Cullen's going to use some of this inheritance money that he got from Nicole's passing, and he's going to go ahead and open a business and start selling his artwork, much to Sophie's dismay. I went ahead and set the cars for Sophie and Denver so they can drive themselves to work. Sophie's like, I'm getting out of this house for a few hours. She is so excited to go and be around normal people who have their priorities straight, who aren't neglecting everything in the house to do pottery. And she has no idea that Cullen is about to spend a good chunk of their money on buying a local business to finally sell his pottery. Because he's been thinking about it, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to sell my pottery. I've been wanting to my whole life, and he just hasn't done it, and he finally has the money to. But of course, that money, I think, was supposed to kind of go towards raising Alani, building a nursery in the house. So we're going to go ahead and have Cullen buy a local business. Sophie is going to be so mad. Of course, he waited until Sophie went to work to do this. He knew if he did it while she was home, she would completely flip out. So he kind of went behind her back. I mean, it is his money, but I think some of it is Denver's inheritance money too, and that's really going to make Sophie mad. But Denver's like, I can't confront him. He's chasing his dreams. Denver's gone completely full circle since the wedding, and he has forgiven his dad. He kind of like, again, has rose-colored glasses on when it comes to his dad, and he's like, he's just chasing his dreams. He's grieving my mom. There's a lot going on, and Sophie's like, his priorities are completely out of whack, and she doesn't understand why he cannot see that. But Denver's like, la la la. I don't think Denver has even held his baby yet. So I think Denver's priorities are also out of whack, and it kind of shows, end of the day, he's going to side with his dad no matter what, even if his dad doesn't come to his wedding and shows up stinky and gets wasted. So we are going to go ahead and end this episode right here. I think it's a good stopping point. In the next episode, we're going to see how Sophie reacts to the news that Cullen bought a business. We're going to see if Denver finally stands up to his dad, or if he keeps letting his father kind of push him around, play with his emotions. We're going to see Cullen running his business. I'm very interested to see how Cullen fares running this business. I think it's a lot easier said than done, and I think Cullen's gonna be a little surprised at how hard the work is. Okay guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!